Here's a look at the stitch we're going to be working on today. Now this stitch is crocheted in even multiples. You're going to make a chain of 30 if you're making these squares. It's a 2-row repeat. You're going to crochet your foundation row, 24 rows, and then your bind off. So let's get started. We're going to begin from a foundation row. Now if you're new to this series, I'm going to link the full playlist down in the description box below. You can also watch the Tunisian 101 course to learn how to do this. We're going to begin with a Tunisian simple stitch, so just insert your hook behind the front leg of the vertical stitch and cast on a loop. Next, we're going to go into the chain space between the second and third vertical stitch. So just insert your hook into the actual chain, yarn over, and pull up a loop. You're going to repeat this Tunisian simple stitch and then cast on into the chain for the rest of the row. So Tunisian simple stitch and then cast on into the stitch or into the chain that is between the two vertical stitches. So Tunisian simple stitch and then cast on into the chain. What you're going to be doing is doubling the amount of stitches that you originally crocheted, -2. So since you made a chain of 30, you're going to crochet, it's going to be the 60, so it's 30 times 2 minus 2 stitches. So you're going to crochet a total of 58 loops onto your hook. So whatever that number is if you're using this for another project. All right, so once you get to the end, so here's this last vertical stitch. We're going to Tunisian simple stitch into the last vertical stitch, and then you're going to cast on into the 2 chains that are left at the end. So into this chain and then into the final stitch of the row. So insert your hook into the stitch, cast on, and then insert your hook into the next stitch and cast on. So look at all those loops. It's a ton of them. All right. So once you complete row number 1, you have to do your your return pass. And the return pass is a little bit different for this one. So you're going to yarn over and pull through 1. Now for the rest of the row, you're going to yarn over and pull through 3. So here are the 3 loops. We're going to yarn over and pull through 1, 2, and 3 loops. And then just repeat. So there are my 3 loops. So we go yarn over, pull through 3. Repeat this until you get to the end of the row. You should be left with just the 1 loop, and then we can move on to row number 2. Before we move on though, I should probably mention you're going to be left with 2 loops here at the end. So these 2, you're just going to yarn over and pull through those last 2 loops to finish the return pass. All right, so now for row number 2, we're going to work with those 2 vertical stitch clusters, or I guess not clusters, the 2 vertical stitches together. So go into this pair of vertical stitches and you're going to cast on a Tunisian simple stitch. So you are going to Tunisian simple stitch 2 together. So insert your hook behind the front leg of both vertical stitches and then you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop to Tunisian simple stitch 2 together. And then you're just going to repeat with every pair of stitches in the row. At the end of this row, you should have the same number of loops as the number of stitches you crocheted for your initial chain. So if you're making the square, you should have 30 loops on your hook by the end of this row. All right, so once you get to the end, you're going to cast on a regular return pass. And for this, you're just going to yarn over, pull through 1. Now for the rest of the row, you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 until you are left with just the 1 loop on your hook. So repeat rows 1 and 2 until you've completed a total of 24 rows. Remember that your foundation row does not count as one of our rows. Now, when you begin the repetition of row 1, remember that you're starting on that second vertical stitch. You're just going to cast that on as a Tunisian simple stitch, and then you begin casting on into the chain space. This is what's going to give you the correct number of stitches that you'll need. So if you cast on into that first chain space, you're going to end up with more stitches than you need. So, yeah. All right, so now for the bind off. Now the bind off, you're going to complete this after a row 2 repeat. So your work is going to look a little like this, only, longer. So you're going to work a Tunisian simple stitch, single crochet bind off. So beginning on the second vertical stitch of the row, you're just going to Tunisian simple stitch. Once you have 2 loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over and pull through both loops to close as a single crochet. So again, Tunisian simple stitch. Once you have 2 loops, you yarn over, pull through both loops. You'll be left with just 1 loop on your hook, and you're just going to repeat this in all of the stitches of the row. Once you reach the end, just chain 1, that'll make a small knot, cut your yarn and weave in your ends. And that was square number 29.